know why.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie, and I'm here with Priscilla and Lydia.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So today we're going to be taking on a virtual tour of CSU's Gregory Alucard Museum. So we're going to take a trip through some different time periods and look at types of art that have been made by a few different cultures and people. And then we have an art project that you can do as well. So I want to let you guys know that at this museum, we have a collection of about 3,500 pieces of work. And we won't get to talk about all of them today, but we hope you learn a lot and enjoy your virtual experience at the Gregory Alucard Museum.
Okay, so before we get started with our first gallery, we want to make sure, if you can, have some paper, pencil, and markers. Maybe about 5 different colors if you can. So we're all going to have this with us, not only for the activity that we're going to do at the end, but also for some interaction that we can have during the tour. So to get started, our first gallery, as you go into the Gregory Alucard, is the Circle and Square Gallery. This is the temporary gallery, the temporary exhibit, and this exhibit focuses on work from a group of artists. Today, we're only going to look at art from one of these artists. His name is Pierre Daura, and these group of artists came together many years ago, and it's a group of artists that focused on abstraction. Have you guys heard that word, abstraction? What do you think it means? Okay, so abstraction means that it's not representational or looking like the object in real life. So a long time ago, we did not have cameras. Can you believe that? So we depended on artists to paint life, to paint real life, landscapes, houses, and people. But since photography was invented, artists now had more freedom to experiment with painting and paint in different styles that didn't have to look like photographs anymore or like real life. So the paintings that the art and the paintings that we're gonna look at today, the first ones are all abstract art. So we're gonna move on to our first piece.
So our first piece we're going to talk about is by Pierre Daura, and that is one of the founders that Miss Priscilla was talking about. And he creates a lot of still life paintings. So this is one of his works that he's created for the gallery. And within this piece, what are some shapes that you see? I'll give you a second to think about it. Now that you have an idea of what shapes you see, I think for me, I see a lot of different fruits, and I see a picture in there, but I also see some squares, some paneling throughout the piece. And so with this piece, since we see a lot of circles and squares, that is representational of what this whole gallery is like, right? Because this gallery is called Circles and Squares. So when you're looking through some of the pieces that we're going to be talking about specific in this gallery, notice some of the different shapes that you see in it and how you see a lot of different circles and squares. So for our next piece, we are going to move on.
So this piece was by artist Vasily Kandinsky. He was a Russian artist. And I want you guys to just take a second and look at this piece and notice what shapes do you see. So for me, I see a lot of squares and circles, which kind of goes with our theme, right? Circles and squares. But have you noticed that there's kind of a difference between the sides? What do you guys think that difference is between the left and the right side of this painting? What do you think the shapes mean? What do they make you feel? So take a look at the colors as well. Do you think that there was a reason that he chose brighter colors for the more looser shapes on the left side? Why do you think he might have chosen a brown for the squares on the right side? So I want to tell you guys, when he painted this piece, he was in the process of changing his style of painting. So this piece is a little representation of that. So he went from, on the right side, painting really square and bland and structured, to painting more loose and freely as he painted to the sounds of music, like you can see on the right side. So with that, we're going to move on to our next piece that Priscilla will show us.
Okay, so as you can see, this piece is called Composition Ovale by Sonia Delaney, so a Russian artist. We wanted to make sure we included a female artist in this tour. So right off the bat, I want you guys to look at this piece, and I want you to take your pencil and paper and write down one word that you think of when you see this art. It could be candy, a face, a building. Just write down one word. Okay, so based on that word that you wrote down, what does this artwork make you feel? Does it make you feel happy or nervous, excited? Okay, so I want you to think, if you could step into this piece, what kind of sounds would you hear? Do you think you would hear happy music? Maybe dogs barking or static electricity? It's interesting to think about, isn't it? Okay, well, Sonia Delaney and her husband as well, they both focused on something that they developed called Orphism. Orphism came from the name of the Greek god Orpheus. And so Orpheus focused on music and poetry for his in his powers. And so Sonia Delaney wanted to express emotions through like visuals of possible sounds that you could hear while you were looking at her pieces. So I hope you guys found this interesting. We're going to move on to the next piece.
All right, so we're going to move on to the African gallery. And if you can see in this map, it's just right where the highlighted part is. And so in this gallery, we have a lot of different types of arts. So we have masks and pottery and figures and beadwork from all the various African cultures. So remember, Africa is a huge continent that has 54 countries in it. So that's the size of the US, China, India, Europe, and Japan all combined. So I really wish we could look at all of them today, but we're just going to be focusing on one of the masks from the Toma people. So this mask, I want you guys to take a look at it for a little bit and think about what animals you might see in it. So for me, I see, let's see, a large jaw that could look like an alligator or a crocodile. I see some horns, maybe from like a sheep or a ram. And so I want you guys to think about what you guys might use a mask for nowadays, because this was a mask that they would have used. So I know the first thing that comes to my mind is Halloween. All love to wear masks then. Do you guys think you could wear this mask for Halloween? It's pretty big, huh? So what do you think this mask might have been used for? Do you think that the animal forms might mean anything for it? So this mask, they actually use at a celebration for when young boys would transition into adulthood. So once they reached a certain age, they would go through some activities and some trials, and then they would be considered adults in their tribe. And so they tell us that this mask has crocodile pieces that have been flattened, such as the jaw, and it also has some human face elements as well. That's pretty cool, huh? So we're going to move on to our next gallery now.
So the next gallery that we're going to move on to is called The Dialogues with Power. And a lot of the works that you see in this gallery are either self-portraits, portraits, specifically of people in power or from royalty. And there's also some more structural pieces that you see in the gallery that might represent different cultures, communities, and also that specific person that might be from royal descent. So with that, we are going to talk about this piece. This is King Louis XIII of France. Now, when you look at this piece, how old do you think he is? So when King Louis became King of France, he was actually the age of 9 years old. So with thinking about your own age, if you are under the age of 9 or over the age of 9, can you imagine being king at that age? I can't. I can't imagine being king or queen at that age. That just sounds like a lot of responsibility to me. So with that, I also like to point out my favorite part. What is one thing that really sticks out to you in this piece? I really noticed the really intricate neck piece that you see. It draws my eye to it, exactly to it, and that's the first thing that I see, which is sometimes you can see that in a lot of the different portraits that we have in this gallery. And also this piece was made by Franz Porbus, and he was really known for being a painter for the European royal court. So he did a lot of different portraits for those people in that specific community. So our next gallery that we're going to move on to.
So the next gallery is called Approaching Nature. So in life, if you were there, this gallery has a lot of like landscapes, there's sculptures of horses, and this also is connected with like people in power and people with lots of money, like Miss Lydia was talking about. So we're gonna move on to the only piece that we're gonna look at in this gallery. I want you to take a minute and look at it and just, what do you see? It looks like a piece of furniture, right? What do you think the materials are? They fancy materials? Is this piece of furniture made out of fancy materials? There's marble and it looks like nice wood, and we see like some golden fixtures on the keyholes, right? All right, so who do you think may have used this piece of furniture? And what do you think it was used for? What do you think was stored inside it? All right, so I hope you guys find this intriguing, because if you look at the name of the piece, it's called Regency Style Commode. So when you think about that word commode, does it sound like the word commodity? Yeah. So if you think about it, many, many, many years ago, there was no running water inside homes, and that means there was no toilets inside houses. So for really rich people, how do you think they went to the bathroom in the middle of the night? So this cabinet was basically to store a chamber pot, which means that's a chamber pot is where you would do your business in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day. And so this is where it was stored. And so it was probably not the rich people that would clean it out in the morning. It was probably the people that helped keep their house going. So it's basically a toilet. That's what this was used for. I hope you found it interesting.
So now what I want all of you to do is I want you to get out your paper sketchbook, and I want you to get out your markers. And what we're going to do is we're going to have an activity based on the work that we've looked at today. So I'm going to first show you if you remember looking back at Kandinsky's piece and what Miss Katie was talking about, and also the Delaunay piece that Miss Priscilla was talking about, and what is something that was a really key element from both of these works. We talked a lot about music, right? And so what we're going to do is we are going to make a single line drawing based on music that we will be listening to. And so when you hear the music, I want you to be thinking about, if we hear a slow song, maybe draw some slow squiggles or a feeling that you are feeling when you hear that song, or maybe if you hear a really loud song, maybe draw some really sharp edges. And so when the song changes, you're going to stop where you're at and you're going to change your color, and you're going to start at that same point that you started at or stopped at. And when you're done, you have created a single line drawing. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop sharing the slide, and us three teachers, we are going to listen to music and create our pieces.
All right, so I'm gonna get the playlist started. I hope you guys can hear it. Let me know if you can, okay? Okay, start with your line. Okay, we're getting ready to change the music, okay?
So remember to change colors now.
All right, we're getting ready to change music again. All right, we're gonna change music again. All right, and that's that. Do you guys want to hold up your drawings? Awesome!
Wow.
Good job, guys.
Wow,
I
those
hope
look
you guys
awesome.
have fun.
Well, we hope you had a lot of fun listening to our tour, and we hope you had fun doing the activity because I know we did. And we just want to say thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.